Hello, my smart learners, and welcome to our mathematics lesson for Tuesday. Please don't forget to go over your chart routine. There are two there. One is counting and one is shapes and time. Please go over those two videos daily. Okay? So we are going to start with numbers, operations, and relationships. We are going to read out and identify some of the number symbols. 56, 600, 345, 789, 890, 421, 211, 166, 8, 999, and 1000. So now let's read out some number names. Remember, this is very important to know how to read number names as well as identifying the number symbols, because we are going to be working in our work pack. So we need to know how to read the number names and the number symbols. So the first one is 12, 54, 86, 121, 297. Okay, learners, let's look at page 15 in the workpack. Here you will have to fill in the numbers. So this is going to help you to count from 501 to 600. Please don't forget, when you're filling in the numbers, count as you are writing down the numbers. And check if the numbers are correct, what comes before, what comes after, if you've written the correct number. And same on page 15, you are going to use the number grid to help you fill in the number patterns. Remember, we did this in term 2. So the first one says write 10 numbers that comes after 500. So 10 numbers after 500 will be 500, 501, 502, and you carry on. Then it says write the next 8 numbers in the twos pattern. So when we say twos pattern, we are counting in twos. So it starts from 510, and our next number, if we count 2 spaces more, it'll be 512. Write all the numbers in the twos pattern from 548 to 570. So we got 548. If we add 2 to 548, our next number will be 550. Write the next 8 numbers in the fives pattern. So here we're counting in fives. So we started at 515. Our next number will be 520. Remember, please use the grid to complete the number patterns and the counting in twos and fives, because this will help you. Okay, now learners, we are going to go on to ordering numbers from smallest to biggest. Remember, we did this yesterday. So when we say put the following numbers in order from smallest to biggest, we are looking for the smallest number, and then we're going to count forwards all the way to the biggest number and see what number we have, and then we're going to put it in order. So our smallest number here is 19. Yes, so we're going to start with 19. And then our second number that will come after that is 149, 205, 355, 466, and our biggest number is 512. So number 2, put the following numbers in order from biggest to smallest. So here we're going to start from the biggest number and we are going to count backwards to the smallest number. So the numbers are there. Let's look for the smallest number. Our smallest number is 245. And what is our biggest number? Yes, 890. So we're going to start with 890. So 890, what number will come next is 574, 456, 423, and at the beginning we identified our smallest number, which was 245. Now learners, look at page 16. It says put the following numbers in order. The first one says smallest to biggest and the second one says biggest to smallest. So let's look at the numbers. 582, 586, 584, 581, 585. Remember, the first column says smallest to biggest. You're going to start with the smallest number and you're going to end with the biggest number. And the second column says biggest to smallest. You're going to start with the biggest number and end with the smallest number. The second row, 566, 506, 560, 516. And the last number is 506. Now, if you've noticed, two numbers are the same. Which two numbers are the same? Yes, the 506. So when we are putting this row of numbers from smallest to biggest, 506 will be written next to each other. As well as when you are writing it in the second column that says biggest to smallest, you are going to write it next to each other. Now we're going to move on to place value. Yesterday we did place value and we did the decompositioning of 3-digit numbers. So let's recap our breaking up of 3-digit numbers. So the first one is 545. So we need to break it up into what? Yes, into 100, tens and units. So it'll be 500 plus 40 plus 5. Number 2, 467, 467. Number 3, 289, 280 and 9. Now we are going to look at page 16. It says break up the following numbers into 100, tens and units. It gives you the example there. 234 equals to 200 plus 30 plus 4. So you've got 495, 508, 594, 549 and 602. Now we're going to move on to recapping our value of a digit. So number 1 says 577 and 7 is underlined there. So we need to say what is the value of that digit. Is it 100? Is it tens? Or is it units? Does it fall in any one of those 3 columns? So the 7 that is underlined, what do you think it falls under, the 100, tens or units column? Yes, the tens column. It is 70. 634, the 6 is underlined, so they're asking you what value does that digit hold that is underlined. The 6 is 600 and Number 3, 12, the 2 is underlined, so that's a unit, just a single digit, so it's 2. Now learners, let's look at the breaking up method. Remember, we use this method to show our working out. So let's recap on the steps. There are 3 steps when you are doing the breaking up method. So let's look at the 3 steps. Remember, when we did the addition and the subtraction and we used the breaking up method, it's the same steps you are going to use. The only thing that is going to change is the symbol. It's not going to be a addition sign or a minus sign. It is going to be a multiplication sign there. So remember that when we did our first step for the breaking up method, we broke up the numbers into 100 tens in units. So we are going to break up 385 into 100 tens in units. So our first bracket will have 300 and we're going to times it by 2. So it will be 300 times 2. And then the next one will be 80 times 2. And then the last one will be 5 times 2. And now we're going to put our answers for that multiplication sum for each 100 tens and units column in our second step. So 300 times 2 is 600. 80 times 2 is 160. And 5 times 2 is 10. Now learners, for our last step, we know that we need to add 600 plus 160 plus 10 is equal to 770. Please do not forget, we use the same 3 steps like how we did the addition and subtraction. The only thing that changes is we are going to times it by 2 and the sign. Instead of having a plus or minus sign, it has a multiplication sign. Now let's look at page 17 in the workpack. It says multiply and divide using the breaking up method. So we got the first one, 256 times 2. So let's do our first step. Our first step is to break up 256 into 100 tens in units. So 200 times 2 plus 50 times 2 plus 6 times 2. Our second step is to fill in our answers by multiplying our hundreds and our tens and our units. So 200 times 2 is 400, 50 times 2 is 100, and 6 times 2 is 12. So our last step is to add all of that to give us our final answer. So 400 plus 100 plus 12 is 512. So now we are going to do a division breaking up method sum. So when we say division, we mean share or divide. We have the first example, 366 divided by 2. All it is saying, 366 share this chocolates with 2 people. We're going to use the breaking up method, so it's still the 3 same steps. Our addition symbols still stay in the same place, only our division sign will be there in the brackets. So we're going to break this up, 366 into 100 tens in units. So it'll be 300 divided by 2, 60 divided by 2, and our units will be 6 divided by 2. So now let's do the second step. They're asking you to share 300 with 2 people. So 300 divided by 2, is 150. 60 divided by 2 is 30, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now we are going to add 150 plus 30 plus 3 will give us 183. We are going to do another example. Example 2, 466 divided by 2. We're going to use the same methods, same 3 steps. We're going to break up the 466 into 100 tens in units and divide all of that by 2. When we say divide, we mean share. Please don't forget that. So 400 divided by 2, and then our tens will be 60 divided by 2, and our units will be 6 divided by 2. So now if we start adding our answers here in the second step, 400 divided by 2 is 200, plus 60 divided by 2 is 30, plus 6 divided by 2 is 3. And now for our third step, we're going to add all of this and get our final answer. So 200 plus 30 plus 3 is 233. Does everybody understand? Yes. Now learners, let's look at page 17 in the workpack. It says divide. It says 246 divide by 2. Remember, we are going to use the breaking up method. So we are going to do the same 3 steps where we are going to break up the number into 100 tens in units. So if we do that, remember, just like how we did the multiplication, we times. Now we've got to divide by 2. So when we're breaking up our numbers into 100 tens in units, it will be 200 divided by 2, 40 divided by 2, plus 6 divided by 2. That is our first step. Our second step, remember we had to work out what is 200 divided by 2 and put our answer, which is 100. 40 divided by 2 is 20. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now our third step is we have to add the numbers here. 100 plus 20 plus 3 is 123. Remember learners, the breaking up method is the same 3 steps. The only thing that changes is the sign or symbol. If it's a division symbol, you're going to add that symbol there. If it's multiplication, you're going to add the multiplication symbol there. That is all. Please don't forget to put in the brackets, because the brackets show that the sum is separated. Okay, now we're going to recap on repeated addition. We know repeated addition is also multiplication. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 25. And then another way of saying 5 times 5 is 25. We're going to say 5 groups of 5 is 25. So the next one, 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is, yes, 18. So what will we put in this block? Yes, 6 groups of 3 is 18. The next one, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 14. And this side will be 7 groups of 2 is 14. Now where we get the 7 and the 6 from is that we counted how many times we added 2's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's how we got the 7, including the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go on to the 4's. 4 plus 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 4 is 32. So it'll be 8 groups of 4 is equal to 32. 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 50. And then 5 groups of 10 is 50. Please do not forget to fill in the answers on the left hand side of the block as well as the right hand side of the block. Now learners, let's look at problem solving sums. Let's read the problem solving sum first. Erica has 12 tricycles. She needs to change the wheels on each tricycle. One tricycle has 3 wheels. How many wheels are there altogether? So now we need to look at the question very carefully and we need to identify what is the question asking us. How do we show this working out now? By looking at the question. So first we need to find out what the question is asking us to do and what sum is this question. So which words tell us which sum we need to use? Yes. How many wheels are there all together? All together is the main word. That tells us what we need to do. So when we see all together, we know we must add. So because one tricycle has 3 wheels, we want to know now how many wheels does 12 tricycles have. So we are going to do our first step by adding 3 12 times. And when we add 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 12 times, we will get the answer 36. Now we need to write a number sentence for our problem solving sum. So another way of writing 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals to 36. We are going to write 3 times 12 is 36. And then we are going to write our sentence, which will be, there are 36 wheels all together. Now learners, let's look at page 18 in the workpack. It says solve these problem solving sums, draw to show you're working. So we are going to do number 1 together, and number 1 says Bob owns an apple farm. If one tree on the farm bears 8 apples, how many apples does 15 trees bear? Remember, we need to ask ourselves, what is this question asking us to do? And which words are telling us what we need to do? How many apples does 15 trees bear? That is what the question is asking us. It's asking us to find out how many apples are there all together if Bob has 15 trees. So it's telling us that we need to add. Yes. Remember, we need to show our working. Working is very important. So for this, we are going to add 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 15 times, because one tree bears 8 apples. We want to find out how many apples 15 trees bear. So when you add 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 15 times, you will get the answer 120. Remember, we have to write a number sentence. So our sum will be 8 times 15 is equal to 120. We also got to write our sentence, and our sentence will be 15 trees bear 120 apples. This brings us to the end of our maths lesson. Please do not forget to complete our mathematics for today and our favorite problem solving section in our workpack.